What's good, everybody? Today we're gonna do some more weird TikToks. These are the true crime TikToks. I really enjoy these. Very interesting. You don't have to take these with a grain of salt because these are usually true. So, if y'all would hit that like, hit that sub, man. It takes my channel a long ways. But yeah, let's get into it.
The Teletubbies conspiracy theory claims that the show was inspired by events in a Bulgarian mental facility called La La Land. Psychotic children were purportedly isolated in dark rooms, and apparently 4 children who died on the same day inspired the characters in Teletubbies. Lala's facial disfigurement and 5 years of isolation inspired Lala. Tuate, a deaf, facially deformed child, was tied to the fence outdoors and frostbitten, inspiring Tinky Winky. Donka, starving and unwell, inspired Dipsy by lying in his vomit for days. Ultimately, Paulina fell into a fire and was roasted alive, inspiring Poe. So why are they called the Teletubbies? The children's main source of comfort were the television sets in their room, and when they got word that the mental institution was getting rid of them, the children concocted a plan to hide the TVs. The children would rip out their insides to hide the miniature TV sets that were too big to swallow, only to be found dead by the returning caregivers the next morning.
I said these were true, but that sounded like a load of shit. Ain't no kid done cut their stomach open with nothing and stuck a TV inside of them. That's just the stupidest shit I've heard. In a mental hospital.
This is the case of
knives.
16-year-old Susanna Morales and how a police officer has been accused of murdering her. On Tuesday, July 22nd, 2022, 16-year-old Susanna Morales went to go visit a friend that lived nearby. This friend lived in the Sterling Glen Apartments, which was near Susanna's home on Santa Ana Drive. Susanna would normally walk to this friend's house, so this was a route that she had taken many times. She left her home at around 6 p.m. and was at her friend's house for a couple of hours. At around 9:40 p.m., Susanna texted her mother Maria and told her that she was on her way home. Again, this should have taken her a very short amount of time since they lived so close. It should have taken her about 10 minutes. However, when 10 minutes went by, Susanna was still not home. Maria began texting and calling Susanna to see if everything was okay, but she never got a response back. The family continued to try and get in contact with Susanna, but at about 9 a.m. the following morning on July 27th, the Morales family called the police department and reported Susanna as missing. However, the police department told the family that they didn't believe Susanna was missing or that she was in any type of danger. In fact, they told the family that she was most likely a runaway. They also told them that they needed to wait 48 hours before officially reporting her as missing. Now, the family knew that Susanna would not voluntarily leave. Things were great at home. She had a loving family, she had loving sisters, loving parents, a boyfriend, and it just wasn't like her to go completely MIA. So the family took the investigation into their own hands and they started going around the community asking if anyone had seen Susanna the night that she disappeared. And someone did. One of their neighbors caught security camera of Susanna walking home. Now, this neighbor's house was very close to the Morales house. It was literally just a 1-minute walk. You can see Susanna wearing a yellow tank top, light blue jeans, and white Crocs. She was walking by herself on the route that she would normally take to go back home. However, somewhere between her neighbor's house, which was just a minute away, and her house, something happened. Family showed this footage to the police because it clearly shows that Susanna was not running away. She had her phone on her hand and she was literally walking home. So police looked at this footage and they decided to look at her phone records to see if it could ping a location. Phone records show that between 10:07 and 10:21 p.m., Susanna was walking in the direction of her house on Singleton Road. Then between 10:21 p.m. and 10:26 p.m., her phone indicated that she was in the area of Oak Lock Trace and Steve Reynolds Boulevard. After that, her phone either died or was turned off. After discovering this information, there really wasn't any serious movement in Susanna's case. It literally took police a month to put out a statement letting people know that Susanna was missing, but at this time, they still considered her a runaway. However, that would all change on February 6, 2023. This is when the remains of 16-year-old Susanna Morales were discovered along Highway 316 between Drowning Creek and Barrow County. And next to Susanna's remains, police found When police checked the serial number, it came back as belonging to 22-year-old Miles Bryant. And it turns out that Miles was actually a police officer. Okay, more in part 2.
Hold up. They threw her off saying that she wasn't a runaway, or that she was a runaway, that she wasn't kidnapped or anything like that. And it just so happens that they found a cop's gun at the scene. No wonder they kept putting it off. But to be honest with you, they say not to report it for 48 hours, somebody missing, but they also say that if they don't find you in the first 48 hours, that they likely won't find you. So what's going on with that? I mean, they're giving you 48 hours to get away with a crime that they know after 48 hours that they're going to have a slim chance of catching you. So it's lets these predators get away with shit that they shouldn't. But yeah, that's crazy, man. Heart go out to her family.
Don't be fooled by this smile. This guy is one of the biggest dickheads to ever live on this planet. This asshole's name is Nikolai Shesco. He was the dictator of Romania from 1964 to 1989. And because of this prick's horrible economic policies, his country was drowning in debts. In Ceausescu's mind, the best way to combat this was to tell his own citizens to make more babies. In his mind, more babies meant more people in the workforce. Romanian citizens listened to this guy, and before long, they had more babies than they knew what to do with. Parents couldn't take care of so many children, so orphanages ended up getting really overcrowded. In some orphanages, these kids were literally not even being fed because this useless sack of shit refused to allocate enough funds towards these orphanages. This is only one of the many atrocities this fucker committed. So it's no surprise that in 1989, him and his wife were both executed by firing squad by Romanian citizens for crimes against humanity.
Hell yeah. Thank God the citizens got to do that. That's awesome that the citizens actually got to take justice out for his failure and his demise to their people. Glad to see civil justice.
Okay, this appears to be one of the weirdest true crime stories in history. And it's one that totally flew under the radar, at least in the United States, because of when it happened and where it happened. Back in early 2017, two separate women in two separate countries were both approached by men saying they wanted to film a series of prank videos for YouTube. One was from Vietnam, one was from Indonesia. They were paid a small amount of money for this, although it wasn't a small amount of money to them. The prank was that they would run up to strangers in public places and smear some sort of lotion or baby oil or something on their faces, and then apologize and run away, or kiss them on the cheek and run away, and that was the prank. And they did this over and over and over again, getting specific direction from the guys who hired them on how to dress, on exactly where to smear the cream, that kind of thing. They did it, they got paid, everything seemed fine. They assumed these videos were going up somewhere. In February of 2017, each of the women were told, hey, we're going to bring in a partner. The two of you are going to work together on this one. It's at Kuala Lumpur Airport in Malaysia. They were told exactly how to dress. One of them was told to wear a white t-shirt with the letters LOL on it. You know, like maybe that was branding for the prank channel or something. They were shown the target. They ran up. They smeared the stuff on his face. And then he died. This time, the baby oil had been replaced by the deadly nerve agent VX. The prank victim was Kim JongNam, the half-brother of Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. The two women were apparently unknowingly carrying out an assassination on behalf of the regime. See, Kim Jong-nam had been working with the CIA, apparently, and had been exiled from North Korea since 2003. They had apparently tried to take him out multiple times and finally succeeded by convincing two young women they were acting in a prank YouTube video.
Wow, that's crazy, man. How they should have known not to just run up to anybody and just smear shit in their face. That's just crazy. I mean, they get what they get. I mean, man, I don't know what to say about that.
Years ago, the nation was shocked and overjoyed to hear that two missing children had been found alive.
Wow, that's crazy, man. You see how both of those turned out? Those kids turned out. Man, and the dude only got 7 years for kidnapping and abducting, and they let him go just so he could do it again. Man, something got to be done about this justice system. That shit ain't right. 7 years, man, get out of
These
here.
are the most haunted places in Pakistan. Starting at number 4, Shah Allah Dita Caves in Islamabad. This famous tourist spot in Islamabad is advised to only be visited at daytime. In Islam, caves are known to be homes for jinns. Visitors have reported hearing shrill noises from within these caves, and the locals don't usually go anywhere near them. Number 3, Sheikhapura Fort in Lahore. Sheikhapura Fort is a historical fort located in the district of Lahore. The fort is currently in awful shape, and no one is willing to restore the site. But anyone who dares to go near the fort returns with fear and horror. It is said that the last queen that resided in the fort died there, and it has since been haunted. Number 2, Mohatta Palace in Karachi. This palace is ranked as the most haunted historical landmark in Pakistan. Today, this palace serves as a museum. The guards and the workers in this palace have experienced dreadful activities. They would see artifacts moving from their place. They would hear noises of people having a party inside. And they would be physically touched by unseen beings. Let alone, the staff always warn visitors not to come alone if they want to avoid an unwanted encounter. And finally, number 1, Karsaz Road in Karachi. The Bride of Karsaz is a horrific tale about a newlywed couple that died in a car crash on Karsaz Road. Since then, there have been several sightings of a bride dressed in red that lingers around the road. But it gets even more sinister. Several people have reported that a bride stands on the side of the road at night, signaling late-night travelers for help. Once they stop, the bride's face turns into something unearthly, almost like a decomposing body, and she chases them down. Eyewitnesses say that they were chased by the bride, with her running as fast as their cars. It's safe to say that Karsaz Road isn't the most welcoming place in Pakistan. You tell me, what country should I do next?
I don't know about that. I don't know where I am on the fence about ghosts and stuff like that. You say ghosts, I say demons, probably. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, if it's haunted, it means it's probably possessed by demons. I don't believe in ghosts. I think ghosts are really just demons disguised, acting like your loved ones. That's just my.
This is
my
a case
point.
of 4 University of Idaho students and how they were murdered in the middle of the night. 5 students lived in this house on King Road in Moscow, Idaho. On the first floor, we have roommate BF. On the second floor, we have roommate DM and 20-year-old Xana Kernodle. Lastly, on the third floor, we have 21-year-olds Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves. On the night of Saturday, November 12, 2022, Maddie and Kaylee arrived to a bar called the Corner Club at around 10 p.m. They were there for a couple of hours, and then at around 1:40 in the morning, the two girls headed over to a local food truck to get some food. After this, they made their way back home and arrived at around 1:56 in the morning. Later that night, Kaylee posted this photo on Instagram with the roommates plus Xana's boyfriend Ethan Chapin, and she captioned it, "One lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day." Now, as for Ethan and Xana's routine that night, they had gone to a house party nearby and had gotten back to the house at around 1:46 in the morning. Now, even though Ethan didn't live at the house, he decided to spend the night there with his girlfriend. So by 2 o'clock in the morning, all of the roommates plus Ethan were already at the house, either asleep or getting ready for bed. However, we do know that Xana remained awake for some time because at around 4 o'clock in the morning, she ordered a DoorDash order to be delivered to the house. Around that same time, roommate DM was woken up by the sound of what she thought was Kaylee playing with her dog Murphy up on the 3rd floor. A short time later, she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." However, this also could have been Xana because her phone records show that she was on TikTok at around 4:12 in the morning. So after hearing someone say, "There's someone here," roommate DM looked outside her bedroom door, but she didn't see anything. Then, DM opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's bedroom. She also heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Finally, DM opened her door a third time when she heard crying, and this time she saw something. She saw someone dressed in all black wearing a mask that covered their nose and their mouth walking towards her. He was a male, 5'10" or taller, not really muscular but athletically built, and had bushy eyebrows. This man just walked past DM as she stood frozen in place and headed over towards the back sliding glass door. After seeing this male, she quickly locked herself back inside her room. Later that morning at around 11:58 in the morning, either roommate BF or roommate DM called 911 and requested help for an unconscious person. And when police arrived to the scene, they found the deceased bodies of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. All 4 of them had been stabbed, and police believe that the murders happened somewhere between 4 o'clock in the morning and 4:25 in the morning. During the investigation, police did find a shoe print outside of DM's bedroom, and they also recovered a tan leather night sheet that was lying on the bed next to Maddie's right side. Through surveillance footage, police also discovered that a white sedan had passed by the house numerous times the night of the murders. Okay, more in part 2.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. How 5 people just die. I mean, they had to be gassed or something for nobody to be able to respond or do something. But it's weird how they say she made a call at 4 in the morning for a DoorDash. Could have been a DoorDasher. I mean, it's 4 in the morning, around the same time that they were killed, so makes you think.
Did you guys know that the movie The Hills Have Eyes is actually based on a true story, and the actual story is just as disturbing, if not more? So this story takes us to a place called East Lothian in Scotland, and that's where we meet Sonny Bean. Sonny came from a very poor family, and his father was a ditch digger and a hedge trimmer. So naturally, his father expected his son to follow in his footsteps. However, Sonny ended up meeting a woman called Agnes Black, and a lot of people suspected her of being a witch, if not evil. Some people even claimed that she ate human flesh. So knowing that their relationship would never be approved, they decided to run away together. However, they went for a very alternative lifestyle. They were said to have started living in this cave here, and it's located on the Galloway coast in Scotland. And because this story took place in the 1600s, the couple were able to get away with a lot. Together, they ended up having 8 sons and 6 daughters, and all of those kids ended up producing 18 grandsons and 14 granddaughters. So yes, basically they were all breeding with each other. Now, because they were living in a very remote area, they basically had no human contact. Whenever they would see a human passing by the coast, they would attack them. Now, at first, their goal was just to rob these people of whatever food and money and belongings they had, but soon it developed into something much darker. They not only started attacking men, women, and children, robbing them, but then they would take their bodies into their cave and devour them. It's estimated that the entire Bean family had well over 1,000 victims. However, one time they ended up attacking a couple on horseback that was on the beat, and they went for the wife first, and the man was able to get away. But before he was able to get away, it was said that the family attacked the wife and basically disemboweled her, cut her throat open, and mutilated her entire body before taking her to their cave. Obviously, the husband, terrified, escapes and runs back to the village and reports everything to the king. That's when the king launches an investigation and hunts down the Bean clan. When they finally did find the cave, inside was a scene out of a horror movie. There was gold, watches, and clothing all over, but there was also pieces of human limbs hanging from the wall like dried beef. Because of the heinous crimes they had committed, it was said that they weren't given a trial, and the men had certain parts of their body cut off and then they were thrown into the fire. They also made the women and the young girls watch the men burn alive. Then when it came for their turn, they were simply just thrown into the fire. I have a slightly longer version of this on my YouTube channel, same username at HeebieJeebiesTube. Here's some.
I did not know that was based off a true story, and that is some weird shit. 1,000 something victims, and they got away with it for years, man. That's crazy. It took the king to come down there and kill them, and then they got what they deserved. I mean, they threw them in the fire. Hopefully they didn't eat them afterwards, but man.
Some better footage
The
of
good
the
old
Watts
days.
family ghosts caught on police body camera. The first video that you're going to see is going to be the one of a little girl running down the stairs.
I can.
I'm not seeing these.
What in the world is that? Wow. Yes. Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow.
Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi.
Oh, hell no.
Yes. Yes.
Hell no. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That was just weird. Demons playing tricks on you.
Obviously a ton of conspiracies about Michael Jackson, but in my opinion one of the most interesting ones, if not a little ridiculous, is that this is what he actually looked like. Hear me out. On January 27th, 1984, Michael Jackson was shooting a Pepsi commercial at LA's Shrine Auditorium. Everything was going great until the sixth take when the pyrotechnics malfunctioned, causing his head to be engulfed by a fireball on camera in front of 3,000 fans. Now, he likely couldn't feel it at first, but as he made his way down the stairs onto the stage, it didn't take long for the stagehands to realize he was on fire. Aaron Fay, his hair and makeup artist at the time, said, quote, "This was someone I knew and he was on fire. By the time I got to him, all of his hair was gone and there was smoke coming out of his head." According to the hospital, Michael suffered second and third degree burns across his head and face. In 1992, the music video director that was filming his tour, Rudy Dolezal, was told that Jackson refused to appear on camera on days that he wasn't performing because on those days he didn't have a nose. Rudy went on to tell the New York Post that Jackson needed a prosthetic nose that took hours to put on using makeup and putty. In 2002, rumors were running rampant in the tabloids that what was left of Jackson's nose cartilage had completely collapsed. So what's the conspiracy, man? I couldn't figure out what it was used for, but there is footage of Michael Jackson being made up to look like an old man using makeup and prosthetics, and it's very convincing. Then there's also this Akon interview where Akon describes going to the movies with Michael Jackson and being shocked when he got there and a complete stranger walked up to him and started talking in Michael's voice because it was Michael, but he was absolutely unrecognizable. The theory being that nobody really knew what Michael Jackson looked like anymore because the Michael Jackson that was famous was just a mask. Now this is a real man named Dave, a victim of horrible burns when he was young, and Michael Jackson just kind of took an interest in him and took care of him. So at first when I was reading about this, I was like, okay, case closed, that's a different guy. But the theory points out that Dave suddenly became a lot more public and his appearance kind of changed after Michael Jackson's death, insinuating that Jackson didn't pass away in 2009, but instead resumed living under various assumed identities, easily fooling the world because nobody had really known what he looked like since the 80s.
It would be great if they had their voice here.
Hit the link in my bio to watch hours of conspiracy theory content on my YouTube, and have a great week.
Yeah, those were some crazy TikToks, man. I liked them. A couple of them were really interesting. One of them I just didn't understand. Like Teletubbies, there's no way that them kids cut themselves open and stuck a TV inside of them and then died. I mean, they're in a mental hospital. There's nothing sharp they can use to cut themselves. Would they use their fingernails? But anyway, man, if y'all would hit that like, hit that sub, man. It takes this channel a long ways, man. It means a lot, and it take me a long ways too. So, man, if y'all would, see y'all later.